Hello, it's the biggest big homie Blocks, and yes, sir, I'm tuned in to Camera Speed Podcast. Y'all tune in and turn up with us. Hello.
What's up? What's up? It's Justin Carter here from the Shade Room TSR Investigate. You're watching Camera Speed Podcast.
Welcome to Camera Speed, your fast track to all things TV and film production. Whether you're behind the camera, in the editing bay, or dreaming of getting your first shot, this podcast is your go-to for production techniques, equipment reviews, the latest industry news, and behind-the-scenes stories straight from the set. Each episode, we'll dive deep into the craft of visual storytelling, from mastering camera movements and sound design to exploring the latest gear shaping our industry. This is the Camera Speed Podcast.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Camera Speed Podcast. Another week, another episode, another amazing conversation. I'm here with my good brothers, Cliff Johnson, Michael Noir, James Johnson, and Los Bradley. Welcome back. Hope you had a good week. This week, we are jumping into a few amazing and interesting topics. First and foremost, building a business around freelance filmmaking. Number 2, how to manage your money in this industry. And number 3, social media content versus traditional filmmaking. As always, to wrap it up, we'll have an amazing pro tip, so stay tuned for that and always be here to learn something new. Fellas, I missed you guys.
What up, yo?
What's good?
What up?
How you been?
Good. Fantastic, sir. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm a Jets fan, so I'm normally depressed, but that's fine. That's fine. I'm a Lions fan by family through Cliff here, so our team is doing great.
And our team, you know, like all of us, I think we all a little bit, you know, Detroit.
We're all Lions fans at this point.
We're all Lions fans.
Yeah, I mean, we're all jumping on the bandwagon.
The
Right?
bandwagon applications.
Bandwagon.
Yeah. All right, we are midway through the season, so you guys
It's mad late for that.
Deadline was last Sunday. I didn't get your signatures in time.
Oh,
so
you had my signature last
unfortunately, you got one more year. You got to wait till next year.
Listen,
But we'll get you back next year.
That's fair.
I'm happy for y'all, man. Y'all deserve this. You know what I mean?
You know, it's been a long time.
Listen.
It's been a long time since before I was born. So
Listen.
Amen.
it's like a domestic relationship. You know what I mean?
The
Like,
Jets are an
it's-
abusive relationship. I
Definitely.
understand. I very much understand.
I mean, none of y'all Washington fans, don't talk to me about losing teams right now. Like,
You have a future, though. A
we got
bright future.
We got a
You
bright
do.
future. You know, it's
Absolutely.
looking good. It's looking good. So, yeah.
Let me see. Production-wise this week, we were all on set together.
Right.
With the
Oh,
exception
yeah.
of Los, but
Yeah, Los
Um,
played
we
us.
missed
He
you,
ain't
buddy.
want to come. He ain't want to come play with us this week, but
he
it's all
said,
good.
he said, "I don't got my day rate. I'm good.
I can't afford
I'm
me.
straight on you guys." Another amazing shoot with the Shade Room. Shade Room Investigates. They've been great to us as a team, as a family. We love working with them.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Justin.
Yes.
What up, though?
Yes.
Bro's no nonsense as a host. He's
Oh,
very.
man.
So, tell me more.
So you just let Henny. I ain't gonna.
Justin, shout out to you, brother. It was amazing working with you. Shout out to the whole family, Taj, Mike Jones.
Mike
Jones.
But yeah, Mike Jones is a Gen Z millennial white man, but his name is Michael Jones, so
And he's the
Works out.
coolest cat in the world.
Cool as hell.
Like, it's crazy.
Mike
He
is the
never
guy.
lost his temper. Like, dude was just like there. Just taking input. It was all good. It was
Right.
beautiful.
Another amazing setup, 2-3 cameras, Zine lenses, Godox, Mike on lights, Cliff on cam, me DP, James, amazing audio. It's always good. It's good to be here on the podcast, and then it translates to the real world, and then I see you guys all the time. It's great. I love it.
You know?
Making money with our friends.
Right. Exactly what we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like, you got something,
Mm-hmm.
you gonna call one
We
of us.
always gonna be working.
You working, I'm working. We're always working. So we just gotta keep going. And
Talk
it's the
about
holidays
money.
coming up, so I
Listen.
need them checks to clear pretty soon.
Listen.
Gonna need them checks.
We
to
gonna talk about
clear.
that. We gonna talk about it.
Listen.
Can we talk about that for a second, though? Can we talk about it? Like, for real, like.
See, this was the second segment. We're gonna make it the first one. Net 30s, net 45s, and net 90s. I think it's difficult in this game because you don't ever want to complain. You know, half of this game is being liked and being amiable and
Right.
amicable, whatever you want to use. But we love our clients, we love the opportunities. We don't always love how and when we get paid. I think everybody here is used to the net 30s, the net 45s, the net 90s. I have one client that's a standard net 45, another client I worked with who's basically a net 90. How do you guys manage your finances, manage the money, manage the time, and manage the balance while working on these payment terms?
Check cash in places.
OnlyFans.
Right, OnlyFans, car loans.
You know, pawn shops.
I keep the stripper pole
listen,
clean. You know, you gotta
listen.
do whatever you gotta do.
Plasma.
But in all seriousness, though, like I think that's the importance of being able to wear multiple hats in this industry. So that way, if your cinematography bag is taking a little longer, you can dip into your directing bag or your producing bag. And in that way, hopefully, you have a consistent stream of 45, 30, 45, whenever it's hitting.
Yeah.
That's the part that works. It's like once you get, if you can like bank that month, right? Or that, you know what I'm saying, and you know you have something dropping every week or every month, like you know it's coming. But the thing about it is that depending on how often you get booked, then you start hitting that, I missed that month.
Right.
Or I missed a couple weeks in between, so you sitting there, remember you had said it was gonna be on the. I mean, I ain't tripping. You know what I mean?
That's always the best
I'm not trying to rush this.
But we did say the 20th, so I was just checking
Could we?
if that was
Yeah.
happening sometime.
Could we maybe get that? Could we maybe get that thing? I just.
The very nicely worded email. Hey, I was just checking in. I
Yeah.
hope all is well. Thank you so much. But no,
get to a
James.
point.
Yeah,
No, my fault.
it's,
Go ahead.
no, it's funny you say the balance. I've been in Atlanta a few years now. There's always that conversation of LA versus Atlanta, and I think what I miss in LA was just the volume of work. Like I was editing, shooting. Like I might be on an edit for a month at my rate, then go out and shoot something for however many days, then come back. The balance of that editing bag in the field, it was a little bit different. Like Atlanta's been a lot more DP work, producer work, and it's grateful and gratifying, but at the same time, a 4-week edit, $750 a day is just a little different than
A little different.
3-4 days of a camera DP rate. Like you definitely miss that balance. Like I agree. Like
Right.
what are you about to say, Cliff?
No, I was just saying as far as like being able to have that bank, and then what James was referring to about just being able to do other stuff. Like y'all know I'm a coordinator, supervisor, line producer, whatever I need to do to do that stuff. And the thing about that is more than likely if I'm on those productions, they're weekly payroll. So if we're on a show, then that every Friday that check is coming. You know what I mean? So if I shoot something in between, or let's say I shoot something on the weekend, and I know I'm a net 30, I'm not worried about it because I know I got a check coming on Friday. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when it gets to that point to where I'm wrapped on the show, and I come rock a joint with y'all, and it's just like, all right, we rocked it on the 7th, and it's like, so you mean to tell me I'm not gonna get it to the 7th of? Whew, all right, I got to figure out. All right, I got a week to try to push. Hey, I got a check coming. Rent will be here. You know what I'm saying?
And that goes back to the conversation we had last week about that relationship balance and understanding. And I think if I had to put it in a positive light, I would say, I don't even know how to spin that, but I think it goes back to networking. You know what I mean?
It definitely goes back to networking. I know for me, if I have forethought or if I have knowledge coming in that this is going to be a net 30 job, the first thing I'm going to say is, okay, whatever you think that my rate is, just went up 10, 15%. I'm sorry. I don't mind waiting on a net 30 if we're talking about something that's going to be a little bit, even if it's just, like I said, 10, 15% beyond my rate, then it's like, okay, I have to wait, but that check, when that check hit, that check is going to be good. So that's something that I've gotten more into a practice of doing, working with great producers who understand that is also very helpful. Like, the only problem with that net 30 or that net 45 or that, sometimes net 60 is like when it hits, I'm playing catch up.
Right.
That's hard.
Yeah.
And for me, that's brutal, man, because it's like I gotta sit there and I gotta go, okay, I gotta pay off all these credit cards that I had to use because I had to wait on this check. And everything that I thought that I could save up for is now gone. So it's it's a little bit difficult, but it's like you said, finding that balance, finding a way to if you can find a way to get yourself ahead, like I think that the next net 30 that I'm going to use is just going to be a bank, and I'm not going to touch it.
And I mean, to that point, like it feels like all of us has something that can either run for an extended period of time versus the ones that are one-offs here and there. And so it's like you gotta control yourself when you are getting it, because like hey, at some point this is gonna run out, and I gotta make sure that I gotta have that money tucked away for when I'm waiting these 30 and 45s.
Yeah.
100%.
I do find that so every client's not the same. I think over the years I did learn sometimes it comes with confidence, but some clients I have the ability to charge up front. I had a few clients recently who were some smaller business clients, and I said, hey, listen, I'm gonna need 75% up front. You know what I mean? And then
Big facts.
probably it's definitely, you can't do that with every client. Some people just have standard payment terms. They're like, nah, that's how we work. Take it or leave it.
Right.
Other people you can kind of have that balance with. So these are probably smaller budgets between 5 and 10,000, but it went great. I think it establishes a level of respect between you and the client, and then it leaves you able to produce what you need to, how you need to, with what you need to, in a sense.
Right.
So for younger filmmakers out there, I think sometimes we get nervous about that. I find that maybe in my early 20s, I probably wouldn't have done that. I'd have probably, doing music videos like, yeah, cool, you got $2,000, all right, let's just figure it out. Now it's like, no, I'm not showing up until you clear this contract. You know what I'm saying? So I get a signed agreement back, be a DocuSign, and money hits my account, and we can move forward from there, because I now have a balance. We have an understanding, and we're all on the same page. You feel good, I feel good. Let's go ahead and move forward. Talk to me about examples or times when you guys were able to establish those things, and when did you realize that wasn't even an option, or that was something that would benefit you in the long term?
Well, look, I've had that in practice for a while, and it just depends on who you're working with. So I've got a client that I work with on it's like a corporate printing company.
Nice.
And they do like a lot of just like in-house videos that are only for their clients and only for their coworkers, right? So it's internal. It doesn't go out. It's not produced. It's not on YouTube. It's not nowhere. It's only internal, maybe an email or something. And they were very much like, hey, love to have you. And I'm like, great, here's my rate. This is how much it is.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. He's like, great, send me the invoice and we'll take care of it.
Yep.
Absolutely. Boom. Show up a gear. I mean, this is before, a camera even comes out the bag. You know what I mean? So it's just like, when you get those type of clients, it's great, because you're getting that bag right up front.
Yeah, the bigger the client, the bigger the check, the faster the deposit.
Absolutely.
It's crazy, man. Every time.
And the work that I was doing, and I know you guys have done corporate work, interviews and stuff, and you come in and you be like, yeah, it'd be $1,500, and they like, okay. You like, damn, should I
say yes too fast?
Yeah,
Right. And the client's looking at you like, well, you'll never know.
Exactly. Like, I should have went down to 2. Like, damn. So I got hit a couple times where I was like, oh yeah, it's this, and they're like, great.
Right.
Like, wait a minute, you said that too fast. I think we might need to negotiate. But so far it's been cool just with certain clients, and then other people you come to, you had that same type of conversation. They're like, oh well, we doing a GoFundMe, or we're doing this. It's like, okay, all right. Well, I guess I do need some money, so just send it to me when you get it.
I find it easier on projects where I'm producing and I have to bring on a team because it makes the conversation a lot easier to say, hey, in order to have all these things that you want, I got to bring on 5 or 6 people. I got to pay all these people. So, there's a deposit up front. There's a point at the beginning of production or end of production, whichever you prefer, and then one on final delivery. And that 3-check setup kind of works, especially on narrative projects.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to that type of stuff, for sure.
Well, I mean, Carlos, like you have like a lot of projects like that yourself, right? Because you've done a lot with like corporate clients, bringing on, doing those types of productions.
So for me, I've kind of had the ability to do or be in a position for like each one. Corporate was interesting because I got to be on the other side of how you go about hiring somebody to come fulfill whatever you want to do, and then the payment process.
Right.
So we've been in that position where it's like you're waiting for the net 30. Well, I've been on the other side where I see why there's a net 30. I see checks just sitting there. I see invoices just sitting there. Some don't get paid.
Oh, wow.
From some organizations that I work with, I won't say any names, but some organizations I've worked with, those invoices could go into collections. They go into 2 years. They go into nasty emails. And those organizations are not waiting for the money. They cut their own checks. So the whole process of figuring out why we have a net 30 regardless, it baffles me because the money is there. I've seen it. I know it's there. So I think for me, understanding that both ends, because I've worked for large clients and I've been net 30, net 60, net 90, and some too long. Even before that.
Never.
So I understand that process. Never.
You're not getting a dime.
That when I feel like it.
Have you guys ever not been paid?
Oh yeah, I'm waiting on several checks right now.
Oh,
From a couple shows.
Oh, the one that hurt me the most was, so I got signed on to do a feature film, came in as a camera operator, and the DP basically quit. So they moved me into the DP position. DP quit, line producer quit, found out that basically the line producer was like, y'all need to go ahead and just pack y'all shit up and just go. Because this production is trash, it's not gonna work out. She didn't say no names, didn't put anybody's business out there, but she was just like, look, it's just not gonna be a good fit for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and head out. I stick it out, I'm like, okay, well, it's all gonna be good. It's all gonna be good. 2 weeks go by, we're not producing anything. Okay, they decide to shut the production down. All right, but I'm still gonna get paid for my time, right? Oh yeah, we got you. Yeah, I haven't been paid from that gig yet, so they owe me probably about 10 grand for those 2 weeks.
So I guess a better question would be, how would you, knowing what you know now, how would you avoid those situations where you're not paid?
Like Cliff said, and like Khomari has iterated, and I think Carlos has even touched base on it a little bit. Contracts.
Absolutely.
If you don't have it in writing, via even something as simple as an email, there's nothing you can do. Like, you have to be able to follow that paper trail. And for me, I am terrible at a paper trail. Like, I'll have, like the emails and everything, and then I'll sit there and I'll be like, I can go back and I'm trying to get my lawyers involved. And it's like by the time you get done with all that stuff, you've exhausted yourself to the point, and they're counting on that. They're counting on you to be tired. So I would say to anybody, like, get your paper trail, follow up with your paper trail, follow up with your paperwork, and whatever you do, don't get tired. Don't get tired at all. Because the moment that you get tired, that's what they're counting on. They're counting on you to get tired and just say, okay, forget it. I'm going to move on now. Yeah. So.
That was the best example I've heard, like, being on the other side. If you're not following up, they don't care.
Yeah.
There's so much money. From the big company perspective, there's so much money coming through that they're not going to follow up with you.
No.
So even if you're following up, you got to, keep following up with it.
Yeah.
That's the part when it comes to that kindly worded email. I'm like, yo, I thank God for ChatGPT at this point.
Right.
Write me an email about getting my money back. Make it business professional. All right, cool.
Well, one thing I would say, like to Mike's example, was you got to realize what power you do have. So, like, anytime that you're brought in to do an interview, like, you got to realize you're the interviewer too. Right. And that kind of lets you know, all right, where this production is, how they're running, are they saying the right things? And those can be determining factors to know that if you're going to be paid, you know, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
For anybody coming into this game, I hope you took some notes from this. I think more than anything, come prepared, ask questions. Don't be afraid to double check in and take it from there. But I think this really goes into our next section around building a business around freelance filmmaking, because not getting paid is a portion of your business. Everybody here is a freelancer to a certain degree. I mean, if somebody hires you for 6 weeks on, you know, you're there, but you're still a freelance employee. What do we all feel like that term means? Like, it's crazy filling out a resume, because it's like, hey, I worked for the Black Effect podcast for 2 days. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? It's like, I'm like, you know, lead producer, camera op, DP, parentheses, freelance. Like, what do we all feel like goes into building our business? But at the end of the day, we're still freelance employees until we get a big job. We're hiring crew and this, that, and the third. Like, how are we balancing the two, and what does that even mean? Like,
It's been tough, to be honest, because as a freelancer, that's the thing, right? You can be on a gig for
Cliff, you're more than a
2
freelancer.
days.
You are the lancer.
You're an entrepreneur.
I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur.
I'm a business,
I'm a
man.
business, man. But no, when it comes
But
to
it's freelance. Is that a derogatory term now? Freelance?
I don't know. Is it?
I mean, it depends on where you at. I've been in some situations where it's like, you know, no, I'm a freelance DP, and they look at me like, how dare you? Like, and you say, well, are you in the union? And I go, well, no, not yet. I'm weighing my options. You know, I want to, you know, definitely get into the union. I go, but how dare you? How do you not? And that is a little bit frustrating, right? So it's like, yeah, is it a bad word? I don't know. Depends on where you're coming from.
Yeah. But that's the part when it comes to just the idea of I can be on a gig for 2 days, or I can be on a gig for 2 months, or
6 months.
I can be
2
6
years.
months. I might be able to get on the Avengers, and back to back, we on there for 2 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when that project is done, your job is over.
Your job is over.
And you know, I look at my credits and the amount of work that I've done, and as many different programs and projects and whatever I've worked on in the last decade, and it's just like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yo,
You know
your
what I mean?
IMDb is fire.
Ain't it?
His IMDb
It's
is
filled,
It's
and it's probably still, I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff that I just don't even add on there. But it's just like, I can show somebody, hey man, look, these are my credits. These are all the things that I've done. But it's like, from the old school mentality, it's like, well, you weren't at a job for 2 years straight. How are you?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like, even when, like, if I'm on something and then I go get unemployment, right? Because I was out of work for 6 months or whatever. And it's just like, okay, I'm on unemployment, right? And then I get a call for a 1-day job. And then they're like, oh, well, unemployment's over. Like, no, I'm still unemployed. You know what I mean? I just did that for a day and I came back. So it's like, trying to balance that, trying to figure out the whole thing around it is just, it's crazy, because you just don't know how long you're going to be on a job.
Right.
And even when you know how long you're going to be on a job, you don't know how long it's going to be till you get the next one.
That part.
That's the part that's the most difficult part.
Or sometimes you're on that job for too long and you're missing out on bigger jobs.
Yeah.
That's
another thing, too.
That's the hardest
That's
part.
the part, yeah, when you like, I took an AC gig for 6 weeks and somebody's like, hey, you want to come direct this
Right.
thing? But I
I got this really great supernatural, you know, science fiction horror that you could be a great DP at. It starts tomorrow. Are you available? No.
Yeah, it's a little tragic sometimes, but
But I
This
do.
is what
I
we
will
chose.
say that being that the freelance part of this thing. I mean, for me personally, I really do enjoy that freedom and that flexibility of being able to sort of pick and choose. That I can work on this particular gig, or I can work on that particular gig if I want to, or as a freelancer, sometimes like you're gonna take these gigs where you don't necessarily have like a real comprehensive contract, and you can say, you know what, guys, I love y'all. It's been great working with you guys, but they're paying twice what you are, and it's something that I actually want to do. So, do we leave? Do we stay?
it depends.
Yeah. Like how do
I've done
we
both.
How do we balance?
I've definitely burned some bridges, and
I was about to ask you that. I was like, oh, where are you leaving jobs halfway? Okay.
I'm like, if you're gonna burn it, you better burn it to the ground, baby. Fuck it, hey,
I was like, ooh,
it is what it
okay.
is.
While we're freelancing and looking for the next situation or in the middle of a situation, marketing. I feel like the funny part is we can own a $25,000 worth of gear and be the worst content creators for ourselves. Like, how do you guys approach marketing? Is it a new reel? Is it like, what are some ways we've all been able to create content? Even now, we're on set and it's like, shoot some BTS, and we're like, all right. So, like, but not to knock, but like, what are some of the best ways that you guys have seen marketing work to your advantage for your own personal brands?
For me, it's just been what I've noticed recently, because I really just started getting back into like actually promoting on social media, and this podcast has kind of helped that. Being able to like have something that I know is gonna be up every week,
Right.
or every other week, or whenever we post. So I know that I have something consistent, which makes me want to be like, okay, here's something else, and I can continue to just post and repost, share things that we've done on here. And then since a lot of the stuff that we've been doing is starting to actually come out, then it's like, okay, I can post the behind the scenes stuff of what I've done, teaser of what's coming, da 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 da.
Yep.
So that's just been a better handle for me. I'm still to a point to where I'm trying to figure out how to just do it on a broad scale, like where it's just like every day something is coming out, whether or not it's a piece of content, whether or not it's a blog, whether or not it's a, some behind the scenes stills or whatever it is. I'm still kind of working through a marketing plan for my own brand.
Los, you're a social media ghost, bro. How does somebody with a big bag find okay Carlos to be like, I want to cut you this check, bro?
Now, for me, so I love marketing. That's definitely a skill set that I grew to love and they kind of exercise. For me, I started with social media where I had, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. And so on YouTube, I found my niche was always trying to help somebody else, or help the next filmmaker. And a lot of that generated questions. And then the questions really turned into, like you said, it's 100 true followers. So you may have 1,000 followers, but your 100 true followers are the ones that are following up with you every single time. They're asking you the questions. So that's where my name kind of grew on social media, that where it kind of still gave me the ability. It's like, okay, if I want to take a break from social media, or certain social media like Instagram right now, I can dial back. I still got a lot of those people who I met online who have my personal number, still reach out, still follow my brand, even if it's on a different channel or anything like that. So for me, still, it's engagement has been the number one thing, just always communicating and talking back. Cliff, I tell you all the time, brother, like, your knowledge is your biggest asset. Like, you started that with your brand in the sense of you being in the film office, and you would just, like, spit game and just be honest. It was your truest, like, honest self, and I think that was, a start. I think everybody wants to have the BTS and all that stuff, which is dope, but there's so much other ways that you can do it that helps you in that moment without having to try to go find somebody to do BTS or hire you or anything like that. So just speaking of what you're good at and what you actually learned over the course, because we've all had those good days, bad days, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Michael Noir.
I don't know why you're looking over here. Like, don't bring it over here, Carlos. You don't have to bring all that heat over here, brother. I know my social media is bad. I know my social media is terrible. My marketing, my branding, all the other kind of stuff is terrible. I personally have, and with the help of good friends like Carlos, my other friend Homer Gaines, other people that I know who work in that marketing side of things, I have a brand issue. And my branding issue is that when I first started this thing, it's like, okay, well, like my best friend, again, Homer Gaines, he was kind enough to basically give me this wonderful logo, which, but I mean, I love the logo and everything, so I ended up putting the logo everywhere. So it's just like, okay, my logo is on, it's not just on, my name is Michael Noir, but it's on, my company name is Phoenix Noir. So when people are hiring me, they're like, okay, are we hiring Phoenix Noir? Are we hiring Michael Noir? So it's like that balance is off. So right now I'm just kind of trying to go through that restructuring, trying to figure out, how I can best wedge myself, wedge my brand and everything like that, and separate, Phoenix Noir, the business, from Michael Noir, the cinematographer. And that's where I'm trying to hopefully get in that rhythm and, definitely improve on next year.
I don't know what it is, bro. I come to set with the greatest intentions possible. Like, I got the DJI, my little mini for the phone in the car. Like, I'm ready to go. I get to set, it's like 2 cameras are up. Do I have my cards? Is the lighting properly set up? Like, where's the C-stands going? Is James good? Like, there's so many things to consider when you finally get to set. That BTS is the last thing on the mind. But kudos to you guys out there creating that amazing content, making it happen. I think we all know a woman DP named Kobe Inez.
Oh yeah, Kobe.
Yeah.
I know her through other people, but I've seen her work, and some of her BTS, I'll be like, damn, sis.
Oh, me and Carlos have worked. Kobe is dope.
Just some cool ass pictures, something real quick. I'm like, kudos to you, friend.
Yeah,
like,
Kobe, man, she's one of the dopest DPs in the town, and she started off on set. She was that girl. She was like, I'm going to capture you on Instagram. I want to capture your BTS. She that was her steez. Like, if Kobe was on set, please believe that she's going to get you at least 1 or 2 dope shots.
I think the ability to change brain waves and be able to produce and still make sure the client is happy, I think that's the talent within itself for sure. But moving back on to just the business around it, I think staying busy also is a even in former episodes discussing the maintaining the client relationships. I don't know if it's a going to boarding school thing, but I think our everybody here has the ability to code switch. You know what I mean? Like, I think you can go from homie conversations to client conversations real quick. You know what I mean? I think the ability to maintain proper email etiquette, following up, like, that's a huge part of maintaining return clients for sure. So any young filmmakers, any current filmmakers, like, your ability to communicate and your ability to manage your client is just as important as managing your entire business for sure. I'll probably leave it there, man. There's so much more to say about managing your business as a freelancer, but overall, like, communication, I think staying abreast of new, updated technology around that. LinkedIn for sure. LinkedIn is not just for jobs. LinkedIn, you want to post all your current work, reach out to people, let them know what you're working on, because that's where some of the real bread is as well, even still. Find your own lane, find your own way of promoting your business.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I don't be on LinkedIn at all, bro.
LinkedIn, yo.
I can't
your face, and I'm like,
I can't. I don't want to lie to the people, man. I don't be on LinkedIn. Listen, I'm the worst because I know what to do. I just don't do it.
That's the problem. That's the problem right there.
I'm the same way, bro.
But it
I
takes-
sit there and I'm looking at my LinkedIn.
It takes 2 minutes,
It's
bro.
because my LinkedIn is for like my corporate and business lifestyle, and then it's
all the same shit,
I have
bro.
never had anybody on any film job been like, "What's your LinkedIn?" Like,
Right.
how can I find you on
corporation
LinkedIn?
to
Like,
there,
But
bro.
what you're missing out though, you have this moment where I kind of had where it's like you're corporate, and then this film kind of just seems like off tier. But what you got to do is you got to understand that one thing that saved me was there's a lot of people who make money. As long as they're good at making money, everything else is forgiven. So the code switching, changing your voice, or whatever professionalism, as long as you prove yourself as someone that can get the job done, reliable, and make money. And I'm not saying like be rude or anything, but if you're that person, doesn't matter even what your LinkedIn looks like. Then on that aspect, especially for you, agencies are all on LinkedIn. They need location sound, they need sound design, all that stuff. And I think you're missing out on that because I follow a lot of studios and agencies.
Yeah.
You're gonna find a hiring manager who may not be on Staff Me Up or Mandy. Their profile is gonna be on LinkedIn.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And they may not be looking specifically for somebody right now, but they're gonna come across your work. They're gonna see something and be like, "Oh, James Johnson. Oh yeah, I fuck with him." You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, you getting a call or a message, like, and it's random as fuck. But believe me, I have a friend of mine who recently worked the Olympics, and he was like, "Bruh, I got this off of LinkedIn." I was like, bruh, say less. Say like, but
But LinkedIn has changed now. It's
Very
like,
much
like
so.
10 years ago, maybe I'll give you that argument.
Yeah.
Like very structured, very corporate, but LinkedIn has kind of flipped that mode to where it's like really hip now in terms of like finding youth, talent, and just keep going.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I use LinkedIn, not for film. So I have a whole nother job that is a traditional 9 to 5 that I'm able to work remotely that I got through LinkedIn. So I still don't get me wrong. I definitely see the value in it, and I definitely feel like it is worth investing in. But for a filmmaker, the biggest thing that I've seen is just when it comes to like social media, really posting that you're constantly working. People see you on this set, people see you on that set, they see you with this celebrity or with these other filmmakers that they follow, then they're like, oh my God, this person's always working. I need to work with them. And that has got me more of my, I would guess, clients or connections on the filmmaking side as opposed to going like the corporate LinkedIn, like, you know, you can get the headshot and all that. LinkedIn has been for the professional.
Right.
But then it goes back to that conversation we just had about the business too, because cool, I see this director, he's on everything, all of my social feeds, but you don't know his hiring practices. He could be trash. He could be the next gig that you get that doesn't pay you, or you like haven't, or you're struggling. So that aspect of that, at least with LinkedIn, I know from a filmmaking perspective, based on what I'm curating, so the people that I'm following, agencies, these are the ones that are hiring you that put you on payroll for a 3-day shoot to where you're not having a net 30 or net 60, net 90. I've done that with Allstate. Allstate paid me like Fridays, every Friday. So when we did that. So I think it just goes back to that balance of the business, the payout, and then the promotion of it too. Because I had corporate, I was marketing.
Okay.
And that was my LinkedIn for a long time.
I'm
and then I
going,
merged
matter of
it.
fact, show of hands. Outside of Carlos, how many of y'all got a job off of LinkedIn?
Ooh.
I got one.
The fact that you even have to think about it, that's proving my point.
I got one, but here's the problem. I got one like a very long time ago. So long ago that when I opened up my LinkedIn here recently, I still had my 2017 reel on there. Yeah. It was
So it was unupdated.
I hadn't updated my LinkedIn. I had not done the activities.
You're proving my point.
I'm proving your
We're
point
proving
to a
your point
degree.
that we need to be better.
I'm proving
That's
my
what
point
we're
to a
proving.
degree.
That's
Now, here's
Mike,
the
though.
thing.
Mike just said he ain't update nothing
But
with
here's
his
the
brand.
thing. Here's the thing where I kind of agree with Carlos a little bit, that if we're using our resources properly, then those resources should net us the right returns. Because like if Khomari's getting jobs off of LinkedIn, if Carlos is getting jobs off of LinkedIn, if they're saying that the LinkedIn activity is good, I'm willing to kind of believe in that, just simply because like how do I know what the potential of LinkedIn could be if I'm not using it to its full potential? That's all.
I give you that. I give you that.
But bro, I've never gotten any jobs on social media. I could post all day, post some dope ass shit, and it's usually like relationship based. But what you did bring up a good point, just social media versus traditional filmmaking, which is our next topic. And again, I think we're all at a high level in our career, maybe a high level in the industry. It doesn't always mean social media content. People are out here making a lot of money on social media content. When and where do you guys create social media content? What do you feel about that? Do you watch it? Or are you more focused on the shorts, the features? Like collectively, what do we feel like is what makes the most sense right now? And what are we into and what are we not into?
I'll start. So I had this conversation twice today. I had it through text messaging and I had it through someone who was renting gear from me today. One of the questions that I received in text today was like, hey, what is the modern day filmmaker now? When you got social media and everyone's looking at content creation and the quantity of content creation versus filmmaking. And if you got this old traditional mindset of filmmaking in the 90s, it's like, okay, if I get the money, get the opportunity, make the whatever I need to make, and now I'm in Hollywood. The problem is there's a negative and a positive. The negatives is content creation. There's a lot of great content creators. Are they filmmakers though?
And how does it transition?
Is it? Because it's like one of the problems we can have is I can talk to this content creator, right? But can he tell me or recite anything business-wise that Cliff knows from production? He can make a dope shot. He can get engagement. But if I bring an agency to him or if I bring a production to him, can he do the same thing on the business level and the mindset? So I think one of the biggest things with content creation right now is content creation is such a boom right now because all it is generating your own following. And that's all the big businesses want to see. That's all Hollywood wants to see. That's why you got IPs being made left and right. That's why you got people purchasing IPs left and right, books, children's stories. Dora the Explorer had a movie.
Dora the Explorer.
Dora the Explorer had a movie because it has a following.
Dora the Explorer to me feels like a very traditional filmmaking route. That was a animation house, a studio house. That wasn't social media. Like, yeah, they were able to convert into a product line, but whether it's somebody like Blippi or somebody like that, Blippi started on YouTube and now he's a product selling person at Target and stuff like that. But that was on YouTube. Like, I love social media content. To me, it's almost a bit of a distraction from actual revenue generating content. Because you may think, yeah, let me go create the social media content, I'm going to end up in Hollywood. And it's a very few number of people that's really doing that. I love Drewski. He's amazing. He's hilariously funny. I want to see more content from him. I want to see a Drewski show. Like, how is he not signed to his own show yet? How is he not on the network yet? Like, sometimes it's a little concerning that we put so much energy into something and you see him on a dope commercial like Google or something like that, and then he's back to creating more content online. You're like, wait, whoa. I thought that was the ascent to the next step. You know what I mean? And it's like...
But what is the step? And I hear what you're saying because I think that traditionally that's what we think, right? We think that you do this here and then you grow to feature film or grow to a TV show or whatever. But people like Drewski are making millions of dollars without having to do none of that. And it's just like, we're trying to figure out, because I have the same thought process, right? I go online and I'm seeing whatever's in my algorithm. I don't know if you follow the one woman who who does the coffee. She puts like affirmations in the coffee. If you read this, she'll pour some milk in a coffee. You're cute today, or you got a nice butt, or whatever. And it's like she posts one of them every day, and it has 100,000 retweets and shares. And I'm like, what is this?
You know the dude who doesn't say anything? Was it Kobe?
Kobe Lane.
Oh yeah.
20 million.
Yeah, like he
20
making
million.
money,
They just
bro.
posted about that.
And that's the thing. It's like, so it's almost like, do you find a lane, right, to try to be viral, or do you continue with the traditional, filmmaking, television making, commercial making that we're used to, But it's just like, I've been thinking like, damn.
That's where it creates confusion.
It's he
can come on and say nothing for 2 years and be the top gross. I believe he's the top grossing content creator. We can go out and shoot an entire project and put our hearts into it, and it's like you get 300 views on YouTube.
But I mean,
it's like, what's the trade-off here?
But I mean, for me, it just has to do with the audience. At the end of the day, I think that it has to do with authenticity and being your authentic self. Like, no one goes out with this mission, okay, I'm going to create this content, and this content's going to make me viral. Or if some think like that, but it doesn't necessarily always happen that way.
No.
Like, to me, it should be a very much an all of the above type of approach. Like, when we're talking about what should we be doing on social media as filmmakers and everything like that, I think that we should be on social media as filmmakers. We should, definitely be talking about film. We should be showing our work. We should definitely be talking and engaging with the audience. Now, we may have something that's, funny or quirky that we may do that we don't even know is funny or quirky, but we do it on every single time that we do a post, and then boom, just like that, it goes viral.
Right. And then if that goes viral, do we continue to do that one thing every day?
That right there is that hard part.
That's the
I
thing.
think more importantly than anything else, it is about consistency. These people are posting for years.
Yes.
And I'm talking about daily posts for years. And so more than anything, because you never know what's going to be the thing that pops.
Right.
And then once it does, that's when people go back and look at everything else that you've done and spend hours at a time on your page just scrolling through your catalog and your likes and your follows and your mentions. The formula is there. It's just you have to constantly do it. And with what we're doing, we're all so busy on this film, this client project, trying to get a feature off the ground, trying to feed our families. Like, we don't have the time or the energy to devote to let me get this quick IG post for the people.
My biggest concern is social media versus the business of film. Like, and at a certain point, when does the 20-year-old begin to understand that, like, you need to, revenue splits, how to properly pitch a show, what to ask for in the pitch room? Like, we're so concerned on going viral that we're not understanding the business of how this industry actually works.
Right.
So are we, in a sense, being set up to not properly maximize long term? You know what I mean? That's kind of my question sometimes. Like, I want to go viral. I'm going to do this dope golf content and try to make it work. Or do I want to go do a golf series and try to sell it to Hulu and have a long-term revenue generating opportunity?
But also, like, that's a testament to your years in the game. I feel like the same could be said for new filmmakers who think, oh, I'm going to make this short film, and we're going to go to Sundance. And my life's going to be set. They don't know how to have those conversations. They don't know what a pitch package is. They've never had it done a Bible. So it ultimately just goes back into who's willing to invest in themselves and learn the pieces that it takes to go from another everyday filmmaker or a content creator to having your own business.
I think another thing we got to understand is, too, that this is a career now. Like, this is YouTubing, being social media list, viral, creating videos. This is its own career. So it's not necessarily saying that, just because you do this, you're going to be successful in film. Sometimes it doesn't translate. You can look at the YouTuber skits and they can't tell comedy on stage, or they can't act on screen on a television show. So it doesn't always translate. But going back to, I think, what Mike said, of being at your most authentic self, when you start looking at going viral as a like distribution benefit, like I'm doing the same thing and now I'm going viral, versus let me just take a shot, I make it, I go viral. Okay, I got to shoot 10 more times now. I got to make all 10 shots now. And now that's when the pressure comes on. So I think it's just that relationship of both. Now that filmmaking is kind of becoming synonymous in the same growth pattern of YouTubers and stuff as far as making money. But it kind of comes back to both. Like, filmmaking is about an audience. It's about returning the dividends that you put into the movie. YouTube is the same thing. Yeah. They have their own audience, whether they're good or whether they're bad. So if you don't look at it from a money perspective, you got to understand it's like, okay, which one am I really devoted to? Because there's filmmakers now that are doing YouTube because they just have their own audience. They don't need Hollywood.
I think
they enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that I think there's such a there's like an idea of hierarchy, right? So it's like even when we go back when we're talking about streaming platforms versus television, right? We were talking about Netflix, and you know, it's just like, would you rather have 1 million views on Netflix or 100,000 views on Tubi? Or would you rather have 100,000 views on Netflix and 1 million views on Tubi?
Right.
Which one would you rather have?
Whichever one's paying the most.
But depending on your thought process, that's where it comes to like, oh, well, I would rather have my product on Netflix. You know what I mean? It's just like, but why?
Yeah,
Everything
100,000 views on Netflix or 1 million views on Tubi, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm going to take the Tubi because I just increased Tubi's revenue. That's the way that I'm going to look at it. I just reached 1 million people.
Right.
That same 1 million people that are watching me on Tubi probably have watched me on Netflix.
Right.
So that translation is definitely better.
So why don't we have a movie on Tubi right now?
That's not my fault. I ain't got nothing to do with that. So, like, I got 3. I got 3, 4, 5. I don't know. I got movies.
You got movies on Tubi, actually.
I got movies on Tubi. Yeah.
But you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Like, it's the thought process of like, where do you draw the line in talking about something as being social media versus being a film, right? So if I do a bunch of content and I put it on my Instagram and it gets 1 million views, okay, well, what is the difference in somebody goes to, if I get 1 million people to go to the theater and watch a movie? You're still getting the same eyes on the same product. So it's like we have this hierarchy of what's more important or what's different, but at the same time, it's just the engagement. I don't care where you watch it at. If you watch it on your phone, if you watch it in the theater, if you watch it on TV, 1 million people is 1 million people.
Well,
yeah, I'm like, is
say,
your account monetized? Like,
yeah, it's about the
so many factors. Yeah, you may get 1 million views by accident, and you're trying to figure out, oh, how did I do that? How can I do that again? Like, can I do that again? Like, the views you get in the theater might translate to a whole deal with distribution and back end and ownership. Like, it's a very I love social media.
But
I just feel like it leads people
the same
down.
in the movie theater.
It's not.
It's ticket
because
sales.
That's ticket sales.
True.
So
True.
that's the piece, which is if you're doing social media content, it's not about the views. You give a fuck about the views. It's about how many of those views can you convert to now pay for a subscription to your content that you can monetize for yourself. And so it's the same with filmmaking. So wherever it is, it's about how do you take this engagement and turn it into dollars.
Mm-hmm. I just want to make movies, y'all. Y'all, like the whole social media thing, man. Like I be sitting there, I'm just like, yo, I don't know, like you know.
But that's the thing, though. It
like
requires us to
viral,
sit down,
right?
But
not my fault.
Yeah,
my daughter, you know, she put up a video and everything like that, and we went viral. Okay, great. And the first thing that, you know, one of my very close friends was asking me, who's like a producer and her friend who's like, you know, big in the market, they was like, okay, so what are you going to do with this? How are you going to capitalize this? And I'm like,
gotta use the data, bro. That data should have told you.
I don't know.
But, bro, that data should have told you this needs to be a documentary. As soon as possible, we're going to turn this into something quick, flip it around, get it to a network or get it to a film festival and go from there. Like,
But for me, it's like, okay, so what is the difference between going viral on some content that you create and in what I consider our case was lightning in a bottle? Like it was just sort of like a random thing. Like she literally had no intention on putting it up, and it was just like, I'll throw this up because I need to put some content up, and then next thing you know, boom, 20 million views later. Wait, what?
Consistency and conversion. If you are consistently putting out content for people to engage with, and one of them pops, that means that there's other things for them to go back to your page and follow you on, and then you can convert those people into dollars. That's the difference between lightning in a bottle type situation. You just happen to throw something up there, but there was no plan to capitalize on that now that you have all this engagement.
well, hold on though. There's no plan thing. That was an edited piece, all right? There was edits and sound effects and music, and it was a bit of a production.
I
He didn't
think
do that.
I didn't
No,
do
but
none of
somebody
it.
did.
I mean, yeah. I
So I don't
that she
think-
put some sound to it.
I
Some
don't
music to it
think
and everything.
anybody posts anything online without the intention of some kind of reaction. I think everybody in this world puts something online to gain a reaction, no matter how big or how small. Some work went into that. It was a bit of a production. That was a produced piece that got the reaction it needed to. That could have been a larger piece that created revenue. So it's like, I love social media. I just think at some point we're creating content for somebody else's pockets. And what's the balance? You know what I mean? Like, I think that's why I was slow on YouTube for a very long. I remember when YouTube came out. I was like, I ain't putting this shit on YouTube. Like, nah. Now I'm like, we need to go on YouTube. Like 20 years later, like billions of dollars after the fact. I'm like, damn, YouTube looks pretty good. Like
20 years later, we got a whole channel,
Listen.
Camera Speed Podcast.
And
I
even
know,
now,
right?
we need to expand on this more and add more content to it and use it in ways because clearly the model is there. So, you know, I think at the end of the day, it's a beautiful thing, but I think going into it with a plan on how to monetize, using the data, using the metrics to your advantage has to be the ultimate goal. You know what I mean? So do what y'all want with your social medias, do what you want with the accounts. I do think the success of many alters the success of a few alters the influence of the many, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, I think like James said, going into it with a clear plan is always the best course of action. So,
Go get your money.
Go get the
Go get your
coins.
money.
fellas, if somebody had a pro tip of this week from net payments, building a business around freelancing, social media content versus traditional filmmaking, what would be one amazing pro tip that you could give our viewers this week?
All right, I'll go. So in the terms of net 30 payments, I don't know if I said it already or not, but when you get the check and the money is good, don't go crazy because you don't need that money later.
Preach it.
Absolutely. Man, I'm trying to remember what all we had just said because my brain is fried. But pro tip for me, get your paperwork right. That's the biggest thing. At the end of the day, if your paperwork ain't right, it don't matter. You can say whatever you want to say, but if I can't go back and find where somebody crossed your name, dotted an I, crossed the T, then it don't matter.
I'd probably say my pro tip is don't be like me. Take care of your social media. Update your reels. I don't want to hear it. I can feel them looking at me right now.
Hey.
I don't want to hear it. Update your reels.
Oh,
Update your
shit.
resume. Keep your stuff updated so that when that opportunity happens, not if, when that opportunity happens, you'll be ready.
Contracts. I think creating friends industry can be fun. Filming can be fun. Sending somebody an agreement, asking for what you are owed can be awkward. It doesn't have to be. Go to ChatGPT, go to whatever you want to go to, Word doc, however you got to do it. Create a simple agreement, your name, the client's name, what you're going to do. Have your list of deliverables, have a timeline, agreed to budget, deliverables, and get that thing signed so you're comfortable and you're secured and you're covered in any production, because that will be your best friend in any project going forward.
Sir, we getting funded. We're getting sponsored by ChatGPT now.
Hey, you already know.
Man, every episode, man, go to chat.
You already know.
This man,
Yo, bro.
ChatGPT. That's okay.
I have no lawyers anymore. Legal agreement, prompts, done. 5 minutes.
Now, I would say my pro tip is definitely build a business. Going into filmmaking, one of the biggest things is everybody wants to be creative. Everybody wants to be, the next big thing, director, DP, whatever the case may be. Understanding as a freelancer, you are a business. You got to set the business, get everything, learn the business, and then just keep focused on that aspect. You can't avoid it. You won't be able to avoid it. And that in the long run, that protects you. So you're not bamboozled, your contracts are good, all the money's good, everything like that. And then that way, so you can pivot and navigate in the industry. And then once you learn the business, you can start applying those skill sets to other businesses, and that you can expand your portfolio while you get to make films for free, or for fun.
Fellas, I appreciate y'all. This was another amazing episode. I think we should create a line called No Net 30s. Like this a t-shirt line that we'll sell on the website.
Or the right net 30s. Or the right net 30s. I'll take the right net 30s. How about that?
Again, find us at Camera Speed across all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We hope you had an amazing time here, and check out next week's episode. Stay tuned.